We are now capturing with Discord. Okay, we are live.
Woo!
I hope to a degree. Nick, you good?
Yeah, unless Mike just decides to randomly die again.
Okay, Austin, you done eating?
Hopefully not.
I am done eating.
To a degree?
No, he's not. He's lying.
As
I
he
would never lie.
shoves another slice of pizza into
Full
face.
fucking shit.
No, I'm not going out at all.
Oh god.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Really?
Oh god,
Shut
you
up.
guys. Alright. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the podcast. I am Joe the Hellhound. Today I am joined by Rhythm, also known as Jen.
Hi.
The Scarlet Tortilla, also known as Austin.
What's up?
Shark Butt, also known as Palm.
Oh yeah.
And Spartan A291, also known as Nick.
Hello.
How is everyone doing, and what have you guys been up to lately?
Dying from heat and work.
Yeah, I'm about the same there, actually. Work was really, really weird last night. Nothing was right.
Dear God.
It was bad. Everything was done backwards, and it was awful.
Ugh.
It wasn't actually completely awful. It was hilarious because we had, for those of you who are military, we had the CO and the CWO serving the little guys with us. It was fun.
Okay. So you had your commanding officer and your...
Chief Warrant Officer.
Okay.
All of the really, really high-ranked guys. We had him and a lieutenant colonel and a regular colonel. They were all helping us serve the low ranks.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was interesting. They weren't actually that bad at it.
Austin, Palm, what have you guys been up to?
Austin, you take this one.
Okie doke. Been working. Recently graduated, so looking for a new job, and been also playing video games. So it's pretty much the highlight. Making YouTube videos again. Shameless plug. Scarlet Tortilla. YouTube.com.
I'm just gonna link it to meatspin.com.
No.
Do it.
If you subscribe now, you get a free Amazon card.
Don't do that shit here. Cut you for doing giveaways.
Because I know you love giveaways.
Fucking
But yeah, that's
giveaways.
pretty much.
Who doesn't like giveaways? Hell, I'll sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you expect nothing but more free shit to come from them, though.
That's true.
I'll keep
But
my
I mean,
dignity in my soul.
I don't expect much from him to start with.
Oh!
Oh. Fucking. Oh, savage.
Shot through the heart, and you're too late.
That's fine. Everything's fine.
That's fine. As you laid on fire.
Oh.
This is fine.
Alright, Palm.
I have been playing a little gym known as Skyforge, and yeah, that's pretty much it actually. Surprisingly, I am a terrible and uninteresting person.
Oh.
Ah.
Everyone's interesting. Except for Austin, apparently.
I guess. I don't know. I've been playing Little Nightmares. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw your, Let's Play?
Mm-hmm. I'm starting it.
Mhm.
Got
good.
a few episodes out, and I suck at it, so that's a lot of editing.
Well,
It's like-
meaning you suck at it means you'll rake in more viewers. No one wants to watch
That's-
somebody succeed.
Right?
Well,
He has a
there's
point.
I mean,
plenty
look at
of
Achievement
times.
Hunter.
That's true. That's true.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah. Besides that, what games have you guys been doing recently as well?
All over the place, frankly.
I love that game.
I've been playing a bit of Halo Wars 2, more Arc. I don't know what else I was playing. What was I playing? Overwatch. That's the other thing I've been playing. Overwatch. That was fun. I had a lovely little excursion with my little brother in Overwatch the other day.
That sounds like pain, is what that sounds like.
It's a lot of pain. It's fun pain, but it's a lot of pain.
It's fun pain.
It's fun pain.
You sound like me playing
Most of
Doom
the
on
time.
Ultra Nightmare. It's a fun pain.
It's fun pain.
That part in me that wants
People
to
were-
scream is dead.
It's fun until you realize that your soul is slowly getting broken down into husk of its former self. To
You
the
mean
point
like
where
when
you
people
just
spawn
don't
camp you?
care anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like you're there already, Nick. That laugh means it's true.
Austin, you've been playing Little Nightmares. What's something that's a bit unique about it? Because I've noticed it from like all the other platformers.
Yeah, Little Nightmares, little indie game. It's kind of like there was another game that came out recently, about a year ago. It was made by the same guys who made Limbo.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. You're like a kid and break into a science thingamajigger. Everyone was playing it back then.
That's
kinda like-
that's surprisingly old. That was over a year ago, wasn't it?
Limbo?
Yeah, there's Limbo, and then there's their sequel. And it's,
Yeah, they made a newer one like in the last half a year.
Inside.
Yeah,
Inside.
Inside, yeah.
It
Oh.
reminds me a lot of Inside tones with its aesthetic, though it's not 100% on a 2D scale. It moves to the right like a 2D game, but it's completely a three-dimensional world where you can go around every room and interact with everything. Like, you can touch everything.
Oh, okay, so it's got that
Oh.
2D perspective.
It's got the
That's
2D
very
perspective,
cool.
but it's a 3D environment, so it kind of messes with you a little bit with the camera.
Okay.
Neat.
And you're like a little person, so everything's big. So you gotta like do weird puzzles, like pull out drawers to make staircases, and it's pretty cool. But it's also pretty terrifying because everyone there is creepy and disgusting and wants to kill you.
I saw the art style and stuff for it.
Best
It makes it
kinds.
look very much like claymation, almost like a Oh fuck! Who was the guy who did Nightmare Before Christmas and Edward Scissorfingers?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. There we go.
It does actually. A lot of creatures do remind me of that, especially with the really long and creepy arms.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Tickles.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I called him Mr. Grabby Hands because he would just
Mr. Bad Touch.
Mr. Grubby Hands. That's a good one.
he just wouldn't keep his hands to himself. I kept telling him no. He kept
No
touching
means
me.
no. No means no. And Palm, what about you? What have you been playing?
Well, like I said, Skyforge, and got back into Second Life again. It's always fun.
Mhm.
A little bit of
Game you'll never get a third of.
yeah. Always need that Second Life though.
It's like,
I've actually been doing a lot of tabletopping. Actually.
oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. We just got into Only War again, and we are now a fighter squadron known as the 102nd Avalon Sky Dogs. If any of you 40k nerds watch this.
Cool.
Yes.
Nice.
Now is that
That means that doesn't
Warhammer?
mean nothing to me, so.
Is that a Warhammer universe deal?
Yeah, Warhammer 40k.
Okay.
Yes.
Purge,
Oh yeah.
purge
that's-
the Xenos, salt the heretic.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And as for me, I've been obviously have the heroin needle in my arm called MechWarrior Online, but I've recently been going back and playing Doom again, Doom and Wolfenstein. I had that itch for fast-paced shooters.
I need to finish that. I still haven't finished it because I don't know.
What,
It's fun
Doom or
until
Wolfenstein?
Doom.
Aw, where are you stuck at?
It's not that I'm stuck. It's just I can only play so much of it for so long. I'm used to shooters that make me think.
Well, Doom, like, what difficulty are you playing on?
I am playing on. It's the one before Ultra Nightmare.
You're playing on
It's the
Nightmare?
Yeah.
I was sitting here, it's like a lot of people have issues with ultra-violence. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I play on Nightmare for fun, and I play on Ultra Nightmare for fun.
Yeah.
There's something
no.
wrong with me.
Hellhound, you know what shooters typically are for me.
Very tactful.
Ultra violence was not that hard for me.
No.
But at the same time, it's like it's a great game in that it makes you focus, but it doesn't make you think. And I'm used to having to approach things from a certain standpoint where if you fuck up, you're dead in seconds.
When you're playing on Doom, that tends to happen if you're on Nightmare.
Yeah,
it's more
but
reflexive, I think, is the best.
yeah, it's more
reflex-based
reflexive. Like
system.
yeah,
Which isn't bad. It's just
I'm used to more tactical shooters than that.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that when I'm playing on Ultra Nightmare. It's more of a matter of remembering and how to deal with the enemy attack
Yeah,
patterns and anything.
that's more muscle memory than actual tactic. You actually have to think and plan ahead.
Yeah.
what game fits that category for you, Spartan?
Ghost.
Halo multiplayer, Ghost Recon.
Have you
I
ever
want-
heard-
I want to say Destiny multiplayer for a while, but that's
Destiny
long since
became
lost its luster.
Reflex after
Yeah.
the first month.
Yeah, no, that's the first month was when I was having fun. You remember that Hellhound, that first taste of shoulder charge before anyone else figured it out?
Bite me.
You had far too much fun with that, Nick. Way too much fun.
Back before people knew what to expect. And then Peregrine Greaves came out and it was fun again.
Speaking of the Destiny heroin needle that everyone is still surprisingly addicted to, we got Destiny 2 gameplay that came out. They did a live stream recently. As in recently, It was fucking yesterday.
Yeah, somebody else pulled me in to watch that.
And I will have to admit, by the way it feels like they're presenting it, it looks like Bungie has a bit more of a leash with it.
I was actually pleasantly surprised by what I saw. I wasn't planning to watch it at all. I only saw it because another friend basically yanked me over to it with a link.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually pleasantly surprised by what I saw. The first thing that actually really got my attention was the presence of allied NPCs, which was not a thing in the first game. And that alone told me that they're really focusing on the complaints that people had about the first game, and they're really making an effort to fix those things. And it has me optimistic, cautiously optimistic, but optimistic.
Yay, optimism. Because
Cautiously.
Yeah, because
I'm still expecting it to go downhill into a flaming dumpster fire.
Dude,
but
at this point in this age of gaming,
it's the gamer's matrix.
it's our
If you expect a game to be crap and it is, you're okay. But if it's not, you're pleasantly surprised. If you expect it to be great and it's not, everything is just spiraling depression.
like Andromeda.
Andromeda, okay, that was a mixed bag. The gameplay itself was fine. The animations,
But yeah, overall, it looks like Bungie has more of a leash on it. Looks like they're rifling out mechanics. We saw the first 3 subclasses, which we have Captain America, a javelin thrower, and Excalibur.
I made that comparison earlier. Let it be known that I said it first.
I know, Austin, you're not relatively looking forward to Destiny because of how it is. But with the recent thing in setup and how we're seeing it now, do you think you'd be willing to get back into it?
Of course. I'm always willing to give everything a second chance. I mean, I'm probably going to get the opportunity because you know who is probably going to buy it, so I'll end up just being thrown the game.
Yeah.
So I'll pick it up and give it a try. Because if what, Spartan says is true, and they actually fix the things in theory, I don't have any problems with it because all my complaints will be quelled. And I'll be able to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I mean, from what little we've seen, it's going to be much more of what Bungie gave us with Halo. It's going to be a cinematic campaign is what they're really focusing on this time around. They're focusing on throwing lore into the game so you don't have to go searching through the Grimoire cards,
thank
which was
God.
always a major thing that bugged me.
I can learn something from the gameplay instead of having to go to another site.
Yep.
I always thought that was so weird that, Halo, such a simple story, but I feel like the first 3 games I could understand what was going on through cutscenes and, in-game stuff.
Well, that was the point. That is what games were up to that point, because that was how it was traditionally done, and Bungie didn't upset that tradition, but they perfected it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it's just there was a trend in gaming. It was I would say after Mass Effect 3, and I'm trying to think of the other last really cinematic game. And then it's like the MOBA platform.
Gears 3, maybe?
I think it was Gears 3. And then the MOBA platform started picking up.
Yeah.
And then the cinematic age of games has died.
Well, I wouldn't say it died. It's
Or quelled. I think quelled is a better one.
It became its own genre, more or less, where MOBAs picked up a life of their own, and they were the thing that everyone was interested in for a while, because honestly, I don't get why people were so into those, but
they're addictive.
I do gotta say that a MOBA probably has the biggest excuse to not giving you a full story ever.
pretty much.
Just the way that the gameplay works and everything, just like...
Well, that, and I think it's also because they have a very easy formula
Yeah,
to pick
it's not.
up.
Honestly, it's not even the fact. Just is multiplayer in general, because that was the big reason Halo 5 itself fell short, is because they focused on so hard on the multiplayer that they didn't pay attention to the story.
That is very true, but it doesn't help that there was
Oh,
like
yeah, all the
comics. It's
rewrites.
like there was fucking comics, rewrites, books, and it feels like at this point
Well,
with Halo 4 and 5, we missed so fucking much because it is
the problem
written
with that
text in
was-
between there.
The problem with that was they were intending to give us a second season of Spartan Ops, and then there's a very small but vocal minority that spoke out against it, and 343 heard them and not the people who liked it, and then went back and tried to bury all of it with rewrites. They closed off every plot thread in the short comic series, and then tried to rewrite Halo 5 multiple times. We got Hunt the Truth, and then they kept rewriting it after that, and that's what we got.
Well, fingers crossed 6 is better.
Yep.
That's how that goes. Frickin', but yeah, back to Destiny and seeing how the classes work. We saw what looks like what the Defender turns into, what the Arcblade turns into. You know, instead of calling him Staff Guy, I'm just gonna call him Michelangelo.
No, they're doing different classes entirely.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's the thing. They're not. That's actually something that very much got my attention, because I was very upset about losing my striker class. But I saw a video showcasing the inverted spire strike, and apparently the old classes are still around. They were running that strike with a gunslinger class, which means at the very least we're keeping the other subclasses that don't align with the new elemental ones. I don't know if we're getting defender back to complement
I want my Bubble
Sentinel.
Titan.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing I was actually wondering about, because Defender Titan was a key role during a lot of raids, and I have no idea how they're going to simply remove that, because so many teams revolved around having at least one of those in the party.
True, because Defender Titan was a very key thing to have. And
It's a very unique niche that none of the other classes filled.
Mhm.
Whereas the new Sentinel class, it only allows you to guard yourself. You can't guard your teammates.
No, I saw it guarding
it-
teammates. It looks like it had a
Really?
wide berth, just it didn't cover the entirety of you.
Oh, well, I mean, Zavala is confirmed as Defender, which honestly tickled me.
Well, he
but...
does Striker and Defender.
No, but the fact that we got Gunslinger back, which tells me we're at least getting Sunstriker and Striker back for Sunbreaker and Striker back for Titan. We're getting Gunslinger and probably Night Stalker back for Hunter, and we're getting Voidwalker and Palpatine, because I don't remember the name. We're getting Voidwalker and Palpatine
Stormwalker, I
back.
think.
Stormcaller.
Stormcaller. there we go.
Stormcaller. We're getting those two back. But my big question right now is whether they're completely replacing the other classes that the new ones have the same element to, or if we're going to get a weird thing where we have two different choices for the same element.
That's a fair question, because that can go either way, and obviously we'll see more when it comes to E3 or in the months coming up to the game's release.
I mean, if I have a feeling if we looked around and we looked at the strikes, because it looked like they had all of the subclasses available for the strikes, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they just included the Gunslinger just because Hunters are their baby and they don't want to piss those people off. But yeah, it could go either way, which is really where I'm not anxious, but it has me concerned, because they could completely upset the balance from the original game, because the classes were very well balanced for a while there.
There was, and then they started fiddling with them again. My main concern is if they can manage to keep a community, because they had a strong start, but because of how the game was, Activision's cutouts, It died,
They
and then it
they
became
seem to-
concentrated. Like, not a
they
good
do seem-
concentrate, though.
They do seem to be focusing on that too, because clan support is actually integrated in the game now. They actually have legitimate matchmaking for raids and nightfall strikes, which is something the first game really needed.
I can see that being very useful. Like, the raids,
And
I'm
the-
still a little meh against.
Well, the way it works now is, or the way guided matches is going to work is, you're not going to just get randomly thrown into a team. What it's going to do is it's going to work with the clan system. People, you know how the way the website, the forums work now when you're looking for a team? It's going to work like that, but much more streamlined. The clan is going to put up that they're looking for members for a raid, and they're going to sit there and wait. And what's going to happen is when you go in as a solo player, is it's going to collect all of those potential matches for you, and it's going to forward them to you to choose from, so you can see who you're getting matched up with, and you can see what kind of environment you're going to be put in.
Okay. That's going to be good for a lot of people, but at the same time, I know a lot of groups are going to be very seclusive when it comes to raid.
Right.
And that's a big issue in general.
Well, the way the systems work though, the way the system's working now though is that that's only going to hurt them, because if they're selective and they boot the person out, so what? The person can go and keep looking for a team they want, and that's going to work for them. If they keep booting people out though, that's just going to take time for them. That's not going to hurt. That's not going to hurt the solo players at all.
No, it's not. And that was one of the issues with solo players, is like not having anyone to do the raids with and that kind of thing.
Right.
Though the nice thing is, once I was watching that, they revamped how the weapons work, so it's no longer relatively
that
first,
has me
secondary,
very happy.
tertiary.
That has me very happy, as well as the fact that it's not the same primary thing where you just have 3 weapon archetypes. It looks like there's a lot more variety now, which gives you a lot more reason to actually go looking for different guns. The loot system actually has much more impact on how things play out from the look of it.
Austin, Jen, what do you guys think of all of this? I swear. Jen there.
Jen? Palm, what do you think about this?
It sounds... I'm not sure, because I was actually never a big Destiny person.
So, what do you think about, like, looter shooter or looter RPG type games? Like,
Oh, I love them. I love them.
love them to death.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I participated in every beta I could for Destiny, but in the end, I never got the game just because of just how I don't know. I felt like I saw everything that there was in the weekends that I did play. But yeah, from there, I just didn't form that great of an opinion. Love the universe that's in. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, gameplays wise, wasn't all that impactful.
Well, it's a new engine this time around, and while they are porting a few things over, it looks like a number of other things got tweaks in terms of how they handle. So that may fix the gameplay for a lot of people.
I just want stuff to do.
Well,
It looks like it should be pretty interesting.
Well, if they bring it for a beta, I'm gonna hop right on that.
Oh yeah, they have a beta out for the people who pre-order it.
Yeah, it's also
Oh,
gonna.
of course it's that.
Well, Jen, what do you think of the stuff that's coming out for it? The new classes, the guns.
I mean,
I was admittedly a little disappointed when they said that we weren't getting our original classes like they originally promised.
Well,
but at the same time, like from what I've seen of the gameplay that I've seen, it doesn't look so bad. It actually looks like they're handling it pretty well so far. And
again,
we actually
that's-
got some decent gameplay stuff this time around. You
that
can
seems
see
like a bit of
before
a
the game comes out.
generalization on their part too, though, because again, I linked to that thing earlier where we are getting at least a few of the classes back.
A few,
Yeah,
but they might
and that
not
would be
be
kinda
entirely
cool.
the same, though.
Yeah,
Well,
they might do
that's okay.
things. They might do things where it's like, it will be the exact same class but with a different name, or it'll have the same name, but like there's going to be some skills that are different.
Well,
And
they
so-
showed us one that looks fully upgraded. Jen saw the same video I did, and the gunslinger looks like it
Yeah.
handles identically. It has all the same abilities.
Well-
The only thing that looks different is that the super looks like it takes a bit longer to charge than it did before.
It's also got 6 shots rather than like 3 or 4. It's got 6.
Yeah, but they're probably weaker is the thing.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just probably
They seem like they were.
an extremely tweaked version of the originals, so much so that they don't consider them the originals and everyone overreacted like normally game communities like to do, until they're like, oh, never mind, everything's fine, sorry for giving you all this grief.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, originally they had said that they were gonna give us we were gonna keep them, and then they said no, we're actually starting over from scratch completely. Now it seems like we're still keeping some of them, so I don't know.
well, I mean, the other nice thing about the continuity viewpoint is that they do seem to be very invested in keeping a continuous narrative going, despite the whole reset thing. Like they went out and they went through the trouble of explaining why all that happened in the universe.
Yeah.
So the thing
Yeah,
about
we pissed
tweaking
off
the
the
classes
Cabal.
like this, the thing about tweaking the classes the way they did is they could again, you have 6 shots now. They could honestly at this point they could just hand wave it and say that your guardian grew strong enough to pull that now. Because the continuous narrative is that your guardian has been growing stronger this entire time, and we don't know how long this takes place after the original trilogy
That
or
is
the
a
original
fair
game.
thing, because it looks like it's been a good chunk of time after the events of Rise of Iron. I mean,
Yep.
from what we knew, it's like that's an entire Cabal battle cluster, and we don't know how long it takes them to get from point A to point B.
The
Yep.
new enemies look pretty cool, or new versions of the Cabal. They look pretty cool.
Here's my question though: I wonder if the Fallen's going to play a big part of this, though.
Fallen, well, at this point, the Fallen have no reason to dick around with the Guardians anymore because the Cabal are the guys who have the Traveler at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Traveler for the same reason the Fallen wanted them, and at this point, the Guardians they're a side note as far as the Fallen are concerned, unless someone actually.
And then we saw. Did you guys see the cinematic trailers?
Oh, Last Call and Rally the Troops.
Yeah. Did you see? It looked like a Vex planet cracker.
Yeah, Vex are involved. Vex are involved.
They are
and we're
Because
getting...
I saw that and I'm like, it showed the clip and then like an entire fucking sector being annihilated. I'm like, by the way, when I talk to give you guys an example of, we have the overall galaxy, then there's systems, and then there's sectors. Sectors are like a galaxy or a couple galaxies together. Not galaxies, but systems together. There we go. I spit out words, yet I sounded like a complete fucking blender.
Hey,
Only reason I understood any of that is because I'm a Star Wars nerd.
Yep. I've been playing an unhealthy amount of Stellaris lately. I have survived the Praetorian Scourge, and I have survived an unbidden assault. I had a bug where I got 2 endgame crises at once.
That's crazy.
GG no read.
No, Nick, you think that's bad? The Praetorian Scourge is the Flood. They go
Yeah,
planet
I know.
to
You've explained that
planet to
before.
planet, they fully infect it, and you gotta bomb it until it's uninhabitable.
Yeah, you've explained that.
Fucking dumb. There's a
Terrifying.
dead zone in my galaxy now. There's a fucking dead zone.
Just start planting trees, it'll be fine.
It's like
Plant
it's like if you were to
trees.
pan it over, it's like that's where space North Korea was.
Oh no.
Space North Korea.
They could never reach the other planets, so they just had to test bombs on themselves.
Oh yeah. No, what ended up happening, I wiped out the planets that were around their core sectors. So now there's like a literal no man's land.
DMZ.
But that's the thing with Destiny, we don't know where it's going story-wise. And I'm hoping it stays strong. I really hope it stays strong, because that was one of the issues when it first launched, before Dark Below, House of Wolves, and the
Well,
rest of
the
that.
other thing they have to consider is that it was also designed for last-gen consoles,
is-
which meant there was only so much they could fit.
True, and that and the last-minute gutting by Activision, though.
Right. But
Yeah.
I forget, was Taken King ever released for the last-gen
Taken
consoles?
King
Because I
was
remember-
released for last gen, and then Rise of Iron didn't even touch the 360.
Yeah. Well,
They-
Rise of Iron. See, here's the thing. Taken King, if I can already tell by the fact that they named this campaign is that they're doing the same business model that they did with the previous one, where they're going to release different campaigns at piecemeal after launch. And this could go one of two ways, and really which way they're going to go, I feel like, is going to determine how well it does. Because if they go the way the first Destiny goes, then they're going to be in for problems, because people are going to see that right off the bat, and that's going to either lose them a large chunk of the community, or it's going to keep them a few loyalists.
They have a very concentrated group of loyalists right now, though.
Well, there's also the idea of, the boost in quality of this one.
Yeah,
So
that's
if they do the same business model and they're actually giving you a hell of a lot more than they did the first time.
That's the other route that they could go, because if they're releasing campaigns in chunks and each chunk is of the same quality that the Taken King was,
then they're good.
That's
They're
a different story entirely.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they release everything at launch, and then the rest of it is post-production content that they make from scratch after the game is out there.
I feel like Taken King and Up was probably worked on after the game was done, but I feel like those two.
No.
Taken King was there.
Taken King was meant to be part of the game at launch.
That's depressing.
It's like
Yeah,
Dark
that's
Below,
why-
House of Wolves, and Taken King were all meant to be there at launch.
Dark Below.
That's
and
why the
House of
first game
Wolves.
crashed as hard as it did during launch.
You
Activision
don't-
forced them to cut everything, including Taken King, out. Rasputin was originally meant to be in Taken King as well. There were so many rewrites that tore the first game apart, and it was all because Activision told them that they had to cut a certain amount of it for DLC.
And that is the worst part about it. The story was fine, but because of the DLC thing, they had to, it wouldn't make sense. And that
They had to scramble, they had to cut a lot of cinematics, they had to stick all of it into Grimoire cards.
it's so bad. It's so.
Is it
sad.
confirmed that bastard Prince guy is dead?
No, he's still
Fuck!
alive. He's
He's not dead. What are you
I
talking
want that
about?
awoken bitch to die.
Hellhound.
No,
Aldrin has been
alive.
Aldrin has been crash landed on Mars ever since the start of Taken King. He's been out in the fucking wilderness ever since
God
then.
damn it! I want him to
He's
die.
barely fine.
He's slowly building an army of moon rats.
I mean, the
Are
thing,
they
the other thing
Mars
is they
rats?
have not confirmed Marasov is dead. They have been leaving clues.
Well, that and the
The Awoken
Queen.
have been increasingly convinced that she is alive ever since Taken King, because they've been sending search parties out and they have not found a trace
True,
of
and the
her.
shit we've found that are in-game items, but it has the flavor text that tells us she might be alive.
Right.
I fully believe the queen is still alive.
Heads up the Bungie knowing
100%.
how to do flavor text, though. The
Yeah.
game may
that
have
is the-
died, but they still know how to write funny shit.
Oh,
that
did
flavor
they
text
ever.
good flavor text has always been Bungie's thing.
Mhm.
It's right next to the headlight
But
fluid.
here is my question, though. Are you guys going to get this
Along with
PC
amusing-
or Xbox?
Xbox, just
Xbox.
because that's where
If
we
I get
all
it.
are.
Because I'm sitting
That's
here...
where they all are, and I don't trust PC
Well,
ports.
he-
I don't trust PC
well,
ports.
knowing them, they're actually... Activision is making them go through Battle.net.
Is it backwards?
Yeah, they are. It's been confirmed that they're going through Battle.net for the PC
What was it,
port.
Austin?
Are they gonna do that thing where they make it cross compatible?
No.
No,
Well,
maybe.
actually, no, they're not. No, they're not.
That's
Yeah,
depressing.
they're not doing that for the same reason that Overwatch isn't, because the PC players would have such a huge advantage over the
called
console
aim
players.
bots.
You know, I would
Well,
say
then-
that, except Rhythm and I ran into someone on console using aimbot as Widowmaker, and it was bullshit.
Oh my god.
You should have seen it. There was a Korean player using an aimbot, and it was during a live stream, and
Oh
like,
yeah,
you
and
can
he
see
got
the
caught.
frame
He got
skipping from
caught.
how fast he was actually snapping to people. I'm like, that's unnatural. I'm fucking
Oh no,
excellent
yeah,
at
no, he
Doom,
got caught.
and my
He got caught
reflexes
and
aren't
banned.
that good. And like mid,
He got caught and publicly banned.
yeah, and he sat there during the live stream. He just went, "Oh well," because
That's what you get for cheating.
I guess it's,
Oh, he didn't care. He'll just make a new account.
He got
because
IP
that's what they
banned.
I
do
don't
in
doubt
South
that.
He got-
Korea. They just make
no.
new accounts at the fucking internet cafes
it was his
because
home
they
computer.
don't ban the IPs. They just ban the account.
Well,
Yeah.
he said he banned the IP like 5 times.
Yeah.
I think they got him
Then
good.
you just move to another computer in the same cafe.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
interesting.
That or you just go to a different cafe.
Yeah.
With your aimbot curling your flash drive.
Speaking of aimbots, South Koreans, and out-of-country studios, fucking poor BioWare Montreal.
On the one hand, like, I'm disappointed because Andromeda could have gone somewhere. They were cleaning up their act. But on the other hand, I feel like they honestly brought them on themselves because the problem was that they outsourced so much work. And part of me is wondering, what did they expect?
Well,
Because you outsource the work, that's not going to be the top priority of the studio you send it to.
here's something I found interesting. They used a new way to generate facial expressions.
That took half the work out of
Yeah.
it, which again, I don't
And
understand what they
To be
expected.
honest, I
because
don't expect much out of animations from BioWare. Hashtag spinning head shepherd. It,
Well, bang.
it
Okay.
was fucking horrifying. Austin, you remember that glitch? Shepherd's head spins all the way around.
Mhm.
I don't know if I want to see that.
It's
glitch.
fucking horrifying.
Sounds
It
terrifying.
is.
It really is.
I'm just thinking of the Vorcha animation glitches.
But I'm sitting here.
Oh, God.
I'm sitting here going, okay.
Do I want to know?
Not really. It's like I really don't expect much out of BioWare when it comes to like clean animation and styling. Oh god, you linked the GIF.
terrifying.
It is. It fucking is.
Do I want to see this? I feel
Just
like
do
I
it.
don't, but I'm
Do
going
it.
to anyway.
Do it.
Watch it.
Oh, I'm getting lightheaded from laughter.
Oh, what the fuck?
But no, that's a BioWare game though. Even when it was Dragon Age to Mass Effect, it didn't matter. There was a lot of issues with character models.
I feel like the main problem was that like BioWare animation has always been janky,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem was that they cut so many corners in Andromeda that just became so much more noticeable.
That is.
It wasn't
true.
the animations that people should have been upset over; it was the textures that people really.
I noticed that because even in Mass Effect 1 had better textures, and they were
Yeah.
very open with that semi-open world that they were doing and shit like that.
Yeah, like BioWare even admitted that Mass Effect 1 was. They went with a good enough mentality because they had to throw it together and they did not expect it to take as much work as it did. And then when Mass Effect 2 came around, they built off of that and fine-tuned that. And they've freely admitted that in their dev commentaries.
And it's like sitting there on Andromeda, I'm looking at this. Don't get me wrong, the game is enjoyable.
The game's enjoyable. It's well balanced, except for like
I want to say
engineer felt so underpowered.
I'm gonna say this. The one thing I really didn't like about the gameplay is the combat areas which you can get engaged at.
Yeah,
It did
because a lot of
not-
the time that you would get ambushed, the cover that they gave you was so easily flanked. They expected you to.
They expected
It
you
felt
to
like
keep
it was
moving.
made for normal, where you could mow through everything as fast as you could at level 60 in Mass Effect 3, when enemies were pretty
paper.
squishy until you threw banshees into the
Yeah.
mix.
But here's the thing, though. It's like it felt like they didn't know what the hell they were doing with the jetpack. It's like, it's a cool idea, and I could see where it was used and what areas were mainly used for it.
I feel like it was specifically meant for a few classes because the thing I did an infiltrator run first, and that jet boost was invaluable because of that auto cloak.
Yeah.
Like if I needed to get out of a fight as an infiltrator, I could get out of there and I could feel fairly confident that they would not follow me until they would not find me again until my shields were
The
recharged.
thing is, I did an engineer, sentinel, soldier thing.
Which is where you got screwed because
And-
they knew where you were.
Well,
Oh,
no, the thing was, I
time. There
managed
was
to get the
never a
recoil
break.
down to where it was like nothing.
We had a laser.
Yeah, well, that's what infiltrator does too.
Yeah.
That it doesn't give
One
you
of
the
the
straight
remnant
damage
guns,
boost.
which does a burst that kicks like a mule. I was literally hammering that, and it was shooting a straight line. I was eating
AKA
people.
Vindicator 2.0.
Yes, I was eating people with it. But overall, it's like the gameplay is good. It's just the environments. They tried so hard to make it open world. It hurt them combat-wise. Because when you had
Yeah, because Meridian, it wasn't Meridian, it was the station before it. I noticed that was hands down some of the best combat arenas because they were designed as such right from the get-go.
Mhm. And I will say this, whatever the fuck they are, the cardinal pseudo banshee things.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, that worked good for a unique boss, but in a lot of the places they tried placing them, it didn't work at all.
They started using them the exact same way they used banshees. They had the same auto kill thing. They had the same fucking teleport.
Yeah,
thing.
but it's like the banshees I can understand because it's like at least you can hammer them.
They were, yeah, the banshees were tanky, but the problem with this is it's a gimmick boss, which again works just fine for one off. But when you start throwing them as cut and copy paste, Warden didn't work for 343. That's not going to work for you, BioWare.
No. It's like, okay, I like the mechanics. I like the idea of this being an actual boss. Like a boss or whatever. Like have it in certain areas where they would actually be. Like for instance, the temples or maybe the prisons.
Hashtag Clone Shepherd.
Hashtag Clone Shepherd. But as I sat there and I played through it, I'm like, okay, you're really relying on this being your only heavy hitter. But look back at freaking goddamn Mass Effect 3 and 2. The Krogan Battle Masters, the fucking brutes.
Yeah, I feel like that was a major, the only major shortcoming they had in terms of combat was, like, environment aside, that's its own issue, but I feel like they really lacked enemy variety, because you look back at Mass Effect 3, you had archetypes, yes, but every single enemy from every faction did their own thing. Everyone was debatably unique.
Hashtag fuck the Eclipse.
But
Hashtag
what?
fuck the Eclipse.
I'm just thinking of Mass Effect 3, where every faction had its own archetype. Like you had the Cerberus grunts, you had the Geth troopers.
Yeah,
you
they
had
were very unique, despite relatively all being the same.
Each one had its own
Little quirks.
gimmick or move. Like even the cannibals. The cannibals got the armor plate. They had their own
things.
unique.
And then the goddamn other one would give them armor, and I'm like, motherfucker, just die.
But the thing I noticed a lot with Andromeda was a lot of the enemies were reskins, but all of the animations were identical. All of the strategies for them were the same, and you only had the one faction that only had the 3 different enemy types by the time you got to the end.
I was also slightly disappointed that I didn't get to fight more Krogan.
I'm disappointed.
Because I sat there and I'm like, I'm on a planet where there's Krogan, and I'm still fighting normal mercs and hardly any Krogan.
Well, to be fair, you fight one Krogan there, and they would have eaten you alive. You would have never made it back.
I'm talking about the bandits.
Yeah, but I still feel like if you pissed off one Krogan, the rest of them would have taken issue with you just on principle alone, and you would have never made it back to the Tempest.
But then this raises the question. It's like, obviously things were a lot worse than we thought they were with the initial information that was given out, or a lot more people were pissed because of what happened.
So the question I'm hearing is, do you think what happened to them was justified?
No, because they were cleaning their act. They were cleaning their act up, and it's the same deal with Bungie. The first product wasn't great, but it was workable. And as time goes on, they fix it. They learn from that mistake, and they fix those mistakes with their second go at it, which is something that BioWare was very, very good about with the previous Mass Effect games. They improved on each and every title moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say my piece about this. I think they set themselves up onto a high pedestal with how well Mass Effects 2 and 3 performed.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
That and the fucking quality of the models, the textures, the world, the environment, the storytelling. Keep in mind, I left animations out of that.
Spatial animation.
BioWare does not know human emotion. My face is tired.
But hey, Joe.
Yeah.
While we're doing this, I'm playing Skyforge, and I just picked up a pair of revolvers based around you.
Well.
Hellhound revolvers.
But as
Oh.
it states with that, and I see the decline, I was really disappointed with how Andromeda looked. I was expecting so much more out of it visually.
Well, the environments look great, but the problem is they focus too much on those.
I also love the diversity. I thought that was cool. But at the same time, it's like there's a rumor floating around. I'm not sure if it's entirely true that they're like, that their lead graphics design for the human models is like, we don't want the male power fantasy.
Can we not go down that rabbit hole again? That's been covered in such length and by so many people that
But I'm gonna say, even when it comes to that, to wrap it up, it's like you still got to put a lot of effort into making a product that people will want, and then it boils down to like, okay, here's my views on it versus what actually sells. And
there's something to be said for artistic integrity, but then there's making a political statement.
Which, to be honest, that's also a theory why I think Montreal got demoted to a support studio.
It's very possible.
Yeah, people be people.
What about?
I'm just unhappy that we're never going to see the Quarry and Hannah arc now.
Nope, we're not.
Aw.
Because that was going to be DLC, and they completely halted production on Mass Effect content.
Yeah,
Oh.
I wanted Elcor Hamlet.
Elcor Hamlet takes you about a year to listen
That
to.
would have been amazing.
But I would say that this kind of bites because I don't think the game shouldn't have been abandoned.
Abandoned, no. Turn down the development, maybe hand it off to a different studio that's proven themselves, but
I don't think abandoning the project was good because this is one of those games that has potential. But
it has potential. They were working on fixing it. They had made noticeable improvements after launch already.
Oh yeah.
Visually and mechanically.
Yep.
But at this point, I think that abandoning the project, even though it is EA's call and they got other big games in the pipe.
There are a lot of new IPs coming out this year, yeah.
I mean, hell, BioWare's working on a direct sequel to fucking Inquisition. So,
Really?
yeah.
I don't want it.
You don't want it?
Featuring the same facial
I don't
expressions
want
as
Featuring the same
Andromeda.
3 voices which match no fucking body in the game.
Inquisition was a cool idea, but there were so many things wrong with that game in terms of the actual gameplay.
Personally, I think they just need to leave the RPGs alone for a little bit.
I would have to agree. They need to focus on other IPs.
Well, that's the problem. They only do that's the problem. That's BioWare's thing. They don't know how to do anything other than RPGs.
I want Star Wars: The Old Republic to come back.
Yeah, just bring that back.
Actually,
That's
yeah,
fine.
that is something they've hinted at. That's something that wasn't there. It wasn't a rumor. Like there were sources that supposedly had credible information that said that was what BioWare Austin was working on.
I believe
Yes.
so.
Yes, I was. I can confirm this. I am BioWare Austin.
Austin, shut up. You're the fucking DashCon ball pit.
But yeah, there were. I forget exactly where it was said, but there was word going around that BioWare's Austin Studios potentially working on a remake, like a complete remaster from the ground up, not simply reskinning it, but remaking the first KOTOR from scratch for current gen standards. I know that they are working on something Star Wars related.
And that's going to be interesting because we know Battlefront 2 is in the progress, and Star Wars is big again, especially with the recent Rogue One, which performed well beyond my expectations, and the episode, I'm going to call it episode 7. Is it?
I know that Disney's forcing a lot of their old projects back in the pipes that were abandoned before. I remember hearing somewhere that 1313 was getting picked up again
God.
too.
I want a sequel to
Oh, interesting.
the Clone Commandos.
I remember rumor of that somewhere too, but that's all that really was rumor.
Clone Commandos versus
I
the
want-
Sith.
Yeah, Republic Commando. I want that. I want a sequel to that so bad.
But outside of that, do you guys think it was right? If we think it's true, and this was out of retaliation for how bad Mass Effect Andromeda performed, Or it could be a massive conspiracy theory, and this is just the natural things we go, and we were just observing this as new games were coming out. Do you think it was necessary for them to be demoted to a support studio?
No. Oh,
No.
see that's a loaded question because again, I don't think the same studio should have kept it. I feel like it should have been handed off to a different studio that knew what they were doing. But
Was it Montreal that
A
did
better-
the
a-
original Mass Effect games?
yeah, or was it Montreal? Well, it might. I think it might have been. I just know that I know that's a different team as opposed to the first game. Obviously, it's been a number of years. A better way to word the question was probably a better way to word that is should production for Mass Effect content have been halted, not should the studio have been shut down.
No, it's not shut down. It was just demoted.
Well, you know what I mean. Different focus. Potato, potato.
Oh, being shut
Oh,
down is
okay.
completely different from being demoted to a support studio.
I just think whoever said they pissed off the wrong person. I think that's what it really was. A lot of people like to speculate over weird stuff like this when you don't get answers. Normally, I've noticed the pattern with companies is that as long as you don't put yourself in the spotlight, you'll be fine. Even if you make a subpar product, as long as everyone's kind of like bowing their head and being like, "Okay, well, we'll fix it. Don't take our money away." They're like, "All right, whatever." So I imagine somebody must have, went up to the wrong suit and tie and said the wrong things, and they're like, "All right, well, guess we're doing this today."
Mm-hmm.
And then there you go.
Yeah, I believe that was most likely the cause. That and also needing people for the other productions.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 99% of the time, it's a lot of petty stuff that usually gets you in trouble when it comes to big, open companies like that. Because clearly BioWare has proven themselves before that they can make a decent game. They've done it plenty of times in the past. Having one hiccup isn't enough to screw them over. So it's probably something a bit more personal where a person had the power to do it and they exercised that because they didn't like what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I could
possible.
see it.
That's my theory.
But then again, this can all be because of the flow of games coming out and shit like that.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, could be a combination of all three. But Mass Effect Andromeda's feedback might put them in a position to be where they are vulnerable to that, and then somebody else just saw an opportunity to get back at someone and divert flow to another project that they personally supported. Who knows?
It's definitely not a straight answer.
No, it's not.
It's probably the combination.
It's
of
not a
things.
simple answer at all. I will say this, Mass Effect Andromeda is surprisingly easy on Insanity.
I feel like it's easy on sanity to anyone who's played the previous games. There were a couple of parts that gave me trouble.
The only time I had trouble was the first time dealing with the Warby yeah. That was it. And once I figured out the mechanics and understood the tech thing.
The first destroyer was where I ran into problems.
But no.
I ran out of bullets.
Yep. That's why I swapped over to Remnant Tech.
That's why I went back with a fucking vintage heatsink.
Space lasers. It's like I had the itch in Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm like, oh, alien technology. I want to try and use this.
I had too many bad experiences. I had too many bad experiences with the proton beam rifle in Mass Effect 3.
It did not perform like that at all. The sniper did to a degree, but it was pretty much you got it to the point where it acted like the fucking laser the construction workers, the workers were shooting. It was nasty.
The observers.
Oh, fuck those things. No, but it literally got to that point where it drained shields in 8 armor.
Well, that was the thing with Remnant Tech in general, is that it's generally anti-shield, isn't it?
Anti-shield, and it's, I think, heat-based.
Yeah.
But overall,
It hurts,
BioWare
is
being
what it does. It
BioWare,
hurts.
Mass Effect Andromeda. Sucks that they're stopping overall production on it. We don't know if they're going to make DLCs or continue working on fixes or whatever.
Well, they said they're going to continue with multiplayer content after launch, so we're still getting stuff there, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're getting anything campaign related, actual new content for a long
Yeah.
while until At least not until after this holiday season when everything's
Died.
wound down and they're shifting over to the next cycle.
Yeah, for the next season of gaming. But that's going to be an interesting thing to see if Andromeda holds up, because it had a very big fallout. Almost as bad as the Mass Effect 3 ending, but fuck all you bitches, I killed the Reapers. And I kept my entire team alive on my insanity run. That was actually... I'm only missing like 4 achievements, and half those are because of the Omega DLC. One of them I couldn't find. I couldn't find what's it?
The fucking
I couldn't
couch.
find the fucking couch.
Wait,
There was a couch on the Omega DLC for Mass Effect 3.
It's Arya's couch. It's missing somewhere in the station. I wasn't able to find it either.
Aww.
That made me so pissed. I'm like, I did a completely perfect run. I got all the war assets to the thing. Nothing bad was happening. I missed that I missed the achievement because I couldn't find the fucking couch. I get to the end thing. I'm like, oh shit, they survived. I did a good. Oh shit, I got the insanity achievement. Oh shit, all war assets to the fucking field. Like, I was not expecting that on my insanity run at all.
That was Shepard's one regret as he killed the Reapers.
I didn't find the couch.
I was gonna bang on that
It's
couch.
like he's sitting there dying, and it's like it like flashes back. It's like you just walked right past it, and he goes, "Motherfucker!"
Didn't they confirm with the sometime after the launch of Andromeda that if you chose the destroy ending, Shepard survived? I thought they confirmed that sometime after Andromeda
I
launched.
think they did, yeah. Besides, there's a little after credit thing where you see his chest plate and he breathes.
Yeah, but that's like an Easter egg. They legitimately confirmed that
Yeah.
they actually survived the destroy ending.
So that means that's the legit ending. Suck it.
Yes! That makes me happy.
Nah, man, the legit ending is when you shoot the little Fody Doty kid and everyone dies.
I did that once just because it felt good.
I did I think it was the synthesis one. I don't know, that was me.
I did that the first time because I didn't know what it was, and then it pissed me off, and then I went destroy every time after that.
Grow bits and organics made a baby.
Is it bad I sat there, no matter
Synthesis.
how much I want to be cybernetics fascinates me, I'm like, I'm not fusing with no fucking Reaper.
Fuse with them,
I've
man.
seen enough of their atrocities to know what this can lead to.
Live long enough, become the new Reaper.
Well, there's like theories to the control and synthesis ending. Is that the fact that's what you're seeing because the Reapers actually managed to harvest everyone?
Yay!
Like that's some bastard form of Haven or something.
Meh.
But I don't care. I killed the Reapers.
Fuck you. He lights a cigar.
Actually, that would have made... Could you imagine how many people would have been pissed if Andromeda was literally after the end of Mass Effect 3, and you find out it was the Destroy ending?
Oh,
I think a lot of people would have been fine with that personally, just because it meant
they actually
it
did
would have been-
something.
Like Shepard's talking to
It
Ryder.
would've-
Well, bang, okay.
yeah.
And then he sees that default face.
I feel like that would have pissed people off for the same reason Inquisition pissed a lot of people off, though, because Hawk was an NPC and you only saw them in like a single cutscene.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can accept the fact of seeing Shepard as a side character now, just because we did
Yeah.
his story. It's complete. It wasn't like Dragon Age where you're playing the Warden, now you're playing Hawk. Guess what? You're the Inquisitor now. What the fuck is going on? There is no fucking there's no pieces together.
There
There's
is,
no-
but it's the same bullshit as Destiny, where you have to go actually look for the fucking Grimoire cards in the background.
Oh. I would have been completely okay if Dragon Age focused around Hawk.
Yeah. Hawk, the Warden, either one. Honestly, I felt like either one of them was more interesting than the
Hawk
Inquisitor.
was awesome. I like my sassy Hawk. Did I tell you the time I accidentally made Hawk gay through a run-through?
Yeah.
I made Hawk gay
Yeah,
accidentally.
and then Anders started coming on, and you had no idea what the hell you did, and you wanted
Anders
it to
Frenched
stop.
me. Anders Frenched me in
No.
the middle of the fucking medical ward. I'm like,
Oh,
how
boy.
the fuck did this happen? You know what? Fuck it. He's my romance option this time around. I wanted the blood elf chick, but you know what? I'm good.
And then he blew up the chantry.
Then he blew up the chantry. I'm like, Anders, why? I gave you a chance, Anders, and you fucked it up.
Fucked up.
But I wanted to save my original boyfriend. Your boyfriend's soul's been separated from his body. He's dead. But no, that's kind of how that went. I didn't know how the fucking language system worked in Dragon Age 2. I'm messing around with it, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, yep, I romanced Anders.
And then Andromeda came out, and then Andromeda came out. You're not tricking me a second time
Exactly.
around. Exactly.
I was a dick, and I made jokes. I will have to say this, Andromeda. Liam, he's not a great character, but his actual story is interesting.
That's the sad thing. Like I never got to his loyalty mission just for the fact that he.
It
bored
was
me as
at
a
the
character.
end of it. It's like one of the little tidbits you could do with him. It was he's talking about his time in the disaster relief effort shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I can get where you're coming from now. I wish you seemed a bit more interesting, because to me, you're basically this
Yeah.
game's version of Jacob.
Can we not? Can we not? Comparing anyone to Jacob is an insult to the other characters.
Liam and
It's-
Jacob aren't
no.
that fucking far apart from each other in my book.
I like Liam. He was kind of fun.
Liam, well, that's the problem. Liam has actual decent stories surrounding him. Jacob is just fucking bland.
Jacob's like, my dad became a man-ho, and he tricked his crew into eating fruit that decayed their brain, even though that would have led to some form of
Why?
pseudo-cannibalism sometime down the road.
Well, see,
fuck?
the problem is that was the pinnacle of his story. That was where it picked
That
up,
was
and that's
it?
where it dropped. Whereas you
Oh,
look at
come
Liam,
on.
again, from what I've heard, the loyalty mission on that is actually fun.
It was interesting.
It is. I really.
I
enjoyed
got
his
so
loyalty
motion
mission.
sick.
It
I
was-
got
oh
so
my
fucking
God,
motion
the
sick.
Naked Joe. Naked Joe was my favorite part because I was not expecting.
I'm like,
it.
that's an alien ass.
No.
That's a very flat
Yeah.
alien ass.
I mean, okay, Liam was shirtless. He walks in shirtless, but when he walks out, so much more than he's shirtless. Not expecting it. That was the moment. That was actually the moment I decided to romance Joel.
Because you got to see that booty.
Yes, it was a
needed-
nice booty. Thank you
we
very
needed-
much.
We needed more Drac, though. Always more Drac.
Yes. Oh,
We needed more
Drac.
Drac.
He's my favorite old man. He is my
Flaming
favorite
Thresher
old
Maws
man.
of Doom. Don't set the alcohol on fire.
Bartender hates that.
Bartender will have a fit.
Is it bad I wanted a cutscene for that?
Yeah, no, I wanted it too. I was disappointed
So
when
did I.
they cut away from that.
Yeah.
I legitimately waited there and spoke to him again because I was hoping that the other two would show up.
No, it's like the characters they written for the thing, only like a handful of them I didn't really like.
Fuck Cora. Just no bad fan fiction.
Bad fan fiction.
The Alliance would have never thrown a biotic away. She would have been sent straight off to the fucking Ascension Project.
Yeah.
Like
It
she
was pretty
was
bad.
she was the perfect age for her too. She couldn't have been any older than Caden
Mhm.
was. And
That was
that
pretty
and then
bad,
the
I admit.
bullshit that she does in her loyalty mission. Jack would have
It
struggled
was
with that.
Cora.
Jack would have
Yeah.
struggled with that, and she was hands down confirmed in lore to be the single most powerful human biotic to have ever existed.
True. Unless she's snorting Ezo on the side. No, I would have to say Cora being one of them, and then there was another crewmate I didn't find interesting. It's like, I love, what's her name? The crazy Asari chick.
Vetra. Our
Vetra
wait,
I
which one was
screwed.
that? Oh, PB.
Like, my first words on my run, I'm gonna fuck that Turian. That was my first words. PB I was, like, really iffy about. at first, but then I found out.
PB, I have.
But then I found out more about her, and
multiple
then her
times.
personality's kind of catchy.
She's actually really interesting.
She grows on you. She irritated me at first because it felt like just another generic Asari.
But then you find out more and more about her.
I like her.
But that's how characters are. It's like I fell in love with Drac
Zero G
immediately
sex is
because
best
he
sex.
reminded
Yeah,
me.
Crow.
He reminded me
Just
of myself.
Crow.
He's sitting there. He's like, you roll up. Is that Drac killing fucking whatever the hell they are by himself?
You
Yep.
drive over the cliff. You hear all the gunfire below. You just look down. And you just hear Vetra. Is that Drac?
No, but freaking stabbing Drac is like Drac and Vetra were the main two I always took with me.
Yeah. Well, that's just because they were tanky as all fuck.
Well, that and I love their conversations. What was it? 15 units of Metagel and how many pairs of socks?
30 pairs
30
of socks.
pairs of socks. What the fuck are you doing? I feel like writers should have been
Like Sid was another really well written character for as little as she popped up.
Mhm.
I really like Sid.
Yeah, Sid was good. Austin, what did you think of them? You played through Mass Effect.
I'm the wrong person to ask. I have not given Andromeda the light of day. I bought it, I played a little bit of it, and it just failed to captivate me.
It has a
glitches.
very slow start. I will give
Oh,
it that.
what happened
Yeah.
to you happened to me with Inquisition.
Inquisition, I tried. I got about halfway through it. Then I got stuck on something because the journal system and that was broken, and I couldn't be bothered
Yeah.
to finish it.
I can sit down and watch
It's-
people play Inquisition all day.
That and the forced padding, where they make you sit and gather points instead of letting you go through with the rest of the story when you're ready.
Mhm.
I don't know. All the issues with the game just kind of added on to the kind of feeling I was getting from
Yeah,
it.
I can understand that.
I'm sure it's not a bad game, but it's just
Well, it's like if I was
Yeah, it's just not
I
everyone's
would
speed.
say if you like Mass Effect,
If you like the first
if you
one,
like the first one,
it's very heavily reminiscent of the first
and
one.
if
Mhm.
you like campy stories and that kind of thing, it's a very interesting thing to pick up. It's fun, it's lighthearted to a degree. It has some dark undertones once you get further into it and you understand what's actually happening. But it is overall great gameplay. Story can use some work, but that's because it's a first game and it's blind.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't even bother. I feel like they got a bunch of new writers on board who only glanced over the existing lore and didn't bother to read any of it in depth, which is where it struggled because that is what Mass Effect is built on, is their very, very in-depth, interconnected
Yeah.
lore.
But I excuse the first game storytelling just because it is the first game. Because
Yeah.
you could find out more in the second and in the third. Because it's like, for me, the first game is like, okay, you lay down the foundation. You can have some plot.
Yeah,
holes.
it's-
Second game, I expect the story to be strong and leave me wanting more. In the third, I want a conclusion. It's not like it's fucking how they're doing Halo now, which is kind of gross.
Again, I feel like most of the reason for that because they stumbled is the problem, and then they never got their balance back until very late
That
in.
they lost.
Because Halo 4's story was spot on. And for anyone who understood what was going on with the lore, for anyone who read the novels, anyone who knew the comics, that story was
But
perfect.
that's the issue. It's like even Halos 1
Yeah,
through
I know.
3, like there was books and stuff in between, but you were able to pick up like right after the next game and understood what happened. It's like, okay, he got
Right,
off the
but that-
Halo,
that-
now he's
that's-
back in with the Marines. Boom. Okay, he's actually falling from the giant Forerunner construct you hopped on to get away from the Flood. Okay, I understand how he got back to Earth. Okay, cool. Here's all the little
But-
information of what happened in between.
if they really wanted to, they could have done like a thing. And I'm gonna say, the first Lord of the Rings, just that first opening scene, I'm gonna narrate exactly what happened and where we are, and this is all you need to know, and now you can follow
Yeah.
along. They could have just taken all those books and summarized it in a cool little animation with Cortana or
Well, they kind of did. That was the whole.
Roland.
That was the whole point to the opening
I
with
want
Halsey.
Roland as my narrator.
that was a good opening, but what I'm saying is that specifically did not answer the questions that the books had to answer. It was a good opening for the game.
It's like, for
absolutely. In
instance,
fact,
Blue
it's one
Team
of my
hunting
favorite
down the
cutscenes.
Didact. That could have been an entire game.
Yeah,
That
but
could've been-
again, everybody. I have a feeling that was intended for Spartan Ops because that was part of the Escalation series, which was meant to wrap up everything that they wanted to throw away and bury.
I wish they didn't bury it though, because I feel like the second season of Spartan Ops had a better story going on than
It's
Halo
like the
5.
first season of
It did.
Spartan Ops,
It
I'm
did,
like,
which is the problem.
oh, okay, cool. Thorn's a punk. Second season, oh, cool. I actually kind of like Thorn. Oh, they're no longer producing anymore? Oh, in the books, Thorn died? Sad face.
No,
Oh,
Thorn
yay,
survived.
Thorn's
It was the
alive.
other-
My
it was-
little bitch
it was
boy
DeMarco.
Spartan newbie.
It was DeMarco
Oh,
that
yeah,
died.
no, I didn't care much for
Oh.
DeMarco.
Nobody
All I
cared much
know
for DeMarco.
is-
Palmer didn't care much for DeMarco. Palmer was pushing you to outshine him just to piss him
Exactly, because he was a
Yeah.
showboating dickhead.
See, they did something pretty cool with Palmer. You know, like
You know what? I actually respected Palmer
everyone.
more after I learned a bit more
I respected her.
from Spartan Ops.
I respected her. I respected her at first, but it was for me. It was the opposite, where I got to know her backstory, and then I found out that she was promoted way earlier than she should have been, and that was pretty much where all of her problems seemed to stem from, because she never learned responsibility. She never learned how to treat the people around her as actual professionals would.
Did they ever make a story for the aftermath of Halo 5 or during the events of Halo 5 with the issues
They've
on
been
St.
touching on
Helios?
it. They've been
They-
touching on it in cannon fodder, because I know the grunts have signed on. They're working. The grunts, Cortana's lifted the grunts out of their Stone Age. They have their own civilization starting up. Cortana's given them Forerunner technology and basically uplifted them the same way the Solarians did with the Krogan and Mass
Well, I'm
Effect.
asking about
Yeah, we're
because
gonna see
Palmer
this.
got really fucked up, and I want to know what happened on St. Helios.
St. Helios, I don't think they've touched, because they're leaving that for the next
'Cause-
game, because that's where the chief
Because
left
to be
off.
honest, Palmer, I don't like her for the same reasons I do not like Locke.
Yeah.
One, they are very...
Well, I just dislike her because she's a terrible fucking human being.
Yeah.
Sheesh, that's a
Uh,
bit of a stretch. See, I feel like they did Palmer better than they did Locke, because you at least feel something about Palmer.
You feel something about her, but she's a hypocrite. She doesn't treat the other people around her like equals. She doesn't treat them like other
she
people.
has that fucking
But that-
higher than thou feel to her.
That's 3 times better than how I feel about Locke.
Well, that's
You-
because Locke was fucking empty. He was just a blank slate.
Exactly. I'd rather have Palmer, and I can rant on for a good 10 or so minutes of why she's a piece of shit, than talk about Locke and being like, yeah, he's just not interesting at all. I don't know why he's
Here's
in the game.
my issue
Pretty
for
much.
Locke is he's an Oni spook. He's a fucking
I wouldn't
he's
care.
an assassin who was going to kill Arbiter.
Yeah,
Oh,
and,
he
and they
wasn't
could have
going to
done,
do it. He just
they could have
recommended
done all of that stuff
Mhm.
better, and made you hate him just like you're supposed to hate Palmer.
The,
Just like-
the problem with Locke is he has this great backstory, but there's just no personality to it.
Mhm.
It's ironic too, because he's a straightforward soldier, and you'd think that'd be okay, but apparently
He
not.
just doesn't feel like that soldier. It's like, I guess I like the character like Buck, Romeo, and
Buck. We need more Buck. Always more Buck.
Buck,
always need
Romeo,
more Buck, of
Dutch,
course.
and Mickey. I like that group
Oh,
because
Mickey's in fucking prison.
Mickey's in prison because he's a traitorous dog.
Yeah.
But
Mickey's
I can
kind of
understand
an
why he
asshole.
left. Why he did what he did. I mean,
think
after
that's
after you
Dutch-
watch the rookie kind of get greased in front of you, you're that's a mixed bag of
by
emotions.
the people that you end up siding with, yeah.
I don't know
blame the
why, but that just
UNSC a
reminds me of
lot.
that.
For it.
That's just remind me of that one RP I saw now where they didn't have the rookie dead. They just explained why he was mute because of brain damage.
Nah.
But
Because that's better, right? It's like we don't want to kill
but I
him.
mean, the issue is that with Team Osiris, it felt like they didn't feel like a team.
which is kind of what they're going for. But the problem is that didn't advance and that didn't correct itself through the story, which is what they were going
with
for.
the stuff that was going on, that makes you brothers really quick in a combat scenario. I mean, I can understand Buck being a bit standoffish with what happened to his team. That's the only person I expect to be standoffish.
That's the other thing I don't get, though. Why? Like, they have Tanaka and Vale, but they could have easily replaced either one of them with Romeo, and it would have worked so much better. And the thing is, they don't really have an excuse for that.
You know,
because
here
Buck
was
is
something
in the squad and Romeo is still around.
I think it was in the books. It was Dare warned Buck about Osiris.
Yeah. She warned him specifically about Locke.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, in Buck's book specifically, at the end, Buck personally requested to go into a squad where he's not leading, which Romeo had his own preset.
I get it.
Yeah,
see
he was
explains.
already taken off to do something else because that's just how military works. 1 minute you're just separated, 1 minute you're together. That's just after the whole falling out with Mickey. The squad was dissipating already.
Not death of Romeo, but death of the rookie.
Yeah, but like when they were actually getting like pumped up as like Spartans, Romeo, Mickey, and Buck, after the event that happened regarding Mickey, Romeo was sent off to do something else, and Buck requested to be a part of a squad he wasn't leading, which is why they're not together.
You know, with the events, though, if I was to spitball what's going to happen for future, I can see Romeo and Dutch trying to find Buck.
Yeah. After everything pops up and throws shit to the fan.
After surviving like 2 glassings.
Yeah, because for them, this is just going back to the circumstances they met each other under. It's just going back to pre-2550.
They are stronger together than they are apart. Buck will need Romeo and Dutch. Dutch may be retired, but with this shit happening, he would gladly strap the boots back on.
Well, actually, that's going to be interesting, too, because Dutch did not go through the Spartan 4 augmentation program, did he?
I count him as a Spartan with the stupid shit he's done.
Dutch actually quit long before. I think that was after.
It was after Rook.
Yeah, no, he quit.
Rook got hit.
The rookie died. Dutch retired, and then June came and found them after that.
Yeah, he came and found them, and then Buck was all like, "No, fuck you, I don't want to be a Spartan." And then a couple years later, a couple months later, when he's hitting on what's her face,
he came back with the offer, but stipulated that his entire team would be able to go through the process, which is why he refused the first time.
Yeah. He even said that Rookie would have been able to be in the thing if he lived, which apparently
in my
that's all
opinion, that group were Spartans already with how they were.
Oh yeah.
I'm like very few people I would deny Spartans like Osiris. I'm in the same mentality as Halsey with it. I don't count in the entirety of the Force to be Spartans.
Oh, that thing where she acknowledged at least that Gabriel Thorne was close enough to the Spartan 3 mentality that he would have qualified.
I feel like that squad, Osiris, just didn't have enough time.
Well, yeah, no. The other problem is it's not just the augmentations; it's the whole mentality that goes through it. Because the whole reason that the Spartan 2s and 3s were as effective as they were, is it was all they knew, and it was specifically done that way because it was the only thing they knew how to do, and they did it well.
There was that, and Thorne actually managed to go out of the way to complete his mission. He didn't stop where the other Spartan Force stopped. Like, literally, he went to retrieve Halsey. Or retrieve that little fucking weirdo guy.
Which one?
And,
him. That was just dumb luck.
That was dumb luck, but at the same time, he managed to retrieve the scientist, kill a numerous amount of Sangheili on his own, and complete that mission. Meanwhile, also giving the middle finger to Mdama.
Personally, I feel
Thorne
like
deserves to be a Spartan.
The Spartan squad that you end up playing in Spartan Ops feels like more of a Spartan team than
because
Osiris.
That was us.
Well, that's the thing, though. They left Crimson completely blank, so it's entirely possible that they might have been Spartan 3s, because what happened was all of the surviving Spartan 3s were folded into the program and relabeled as
Yeah.
4s.
It's a
Yeah,
pretty
just
obvious
given
to
the
see the
more
difference
modern-
between the two, though, because the 3s are bigger than the 4s. But
It's the
3s are bigger than the 4s. The only reason they are smaller than the Spartan 2s is because they're younger.
hmm
Technically speaking, actually, I believe the Spartan 3s had superior augmentations. It's just that they hadn't grown
that
into
and they
them
were
yet.
thrown into the fucking wind like cannon fodder. They were meant to be disposable.
Well, except for the ones that were pulled from the front lines, which would have been every Spartan 3 that got thrown into the 4 program
Yeah.
because they were pulled from the front
But
line and given
I'm
the
expecting to see more Spartans show up. I'm expecting to see
Oh,
the
yeah.
ODSTs show up. I want Dutch.
Actually,
I don't
Great
know-
Team.
I wouldn't
Great
mind
Team is
fans
Great
popping
that
Team's
up.
still
I
alive.
would.
Yeah, they're in the next novel that's coming out. Covenant had them in stasis, and they're popping up in lore.
How'd the Covenant get a
I
hold of
want.
them?
I want Naomi.
I don't know, but some dickhead Sing Healy's had them in stasis the entire time. They're popping up in lore.
Oh,
Not to mention
shit.
we're getting the Spartan. What the hell was the Spartan team called? In Halo Wars.
Oh, Red Team? Yeah, Red Team's
Yeah,
back
Red Team's
too.
back.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing I'm really excited for. For anyone who's actually played Halo Wars 2 and has actually beat
Yeah,
the campaign.
it felt like a return to form is what it felt like. Everything that we were used to.
Not only that, but the way that they tied it, and without spoiling anything, mind you, with the way that they tied the campaign ending with what's happening in Halo 5,
Oh
It-
yeah.
it would be so cool in Halo 6 to, like, big ass battle going on, stereotypical, like, this is the final battle, and you just see the Spirit of Fire warp in, and you hear
Oh.
it just start. It would be super, super
What?
cool.
Only
hope
way
it
they're gonna
happens.
do that is if they get complete control of the Ark and its slip space system, but that's gonna be a while off.
I
for
do
anyone who's
admit
played
that
the
would be
game.
really cool to just see the fucking oh fuck, what was their ship called?
I mean,
The Spirit of
Fire?
Fire do a low fucking slip space jump in.
Your Captain Cutter, he just loves throwing out ordnance like it's like cards. It's like, you get a mech cannon, you
I
get
can
an archer
literally see
missile.
him dropping in almost dead on top of a Guardian and just unloading everything that ship has into it. I can fucking
Dude, he'd
see it.
ram the fucker if he could.
That's the worst part. I could see him doing it. And the funny thing is like, I would do that. I might die, but I would fucking do it.
that's the problem with the Spirit of Fire, though. Compared to current ships of the line, that thing is made of glass.
It is definitely.
Another ship rams that thing. That's gonna come apart like come apart like tinder.
Not quite, because they did explain a little bit of lore, and in the first cutscene where the AI sent her final message to Cutter, she had done like what Cortana did for Master Chief in 4 with the nanobots and her,
She repaired the ship and did a few upgrades, yeah, but the problem is that's also technology from the 2490s.
It is old technology, but it's kind of that stereotype. If you put enough armor on armor, and there's armor for your armor, they were able to take on a modern day Covenant dropship, not dropship, but what
Oh, no.
carrier.
No, they
super
know they
carrier.
weren't. The assault carrier wasn't firing on them. They had their hands full just dealing with the Banshees.
Okay, so they were lasting a while.
I give
Is
it,
that
I will
pretty
admit this:
good?
the Spirit of Fire is a very hardy ship.
If that carrier had fired on them even once, they would have been done.
It's the biggest ship because it's literally just a big ass military manufactured colony ship.
Yeah,
I think it could have taken a few.
it's a refitted colony ship. It's basically just a giant factory with engines and armor slapped
Mm-hmm.
on. But at the same time, a single destroyer glanced that and ripped half the armor off just because you put all the armor you want at that speed and with that much mass, metal gets very malleable.
Yeah.
No, it's just the fact he's smart. Cutter is very smart, though.
Cutter's probably close
I
to
mean,
the best. aside
hell,
from Keys.
he managed to fucking put down Aatrox to a standstill.
Oh, that again, I feel like part of that was just that Aatrox very heavily underestimated him right from the start, and Cutter took full advantage of that.
It was definitely something he did because he's like Aatrox is like, oh, he's gonna be easy like the other humans, da 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 da, and here.
Well, the problem was he delegated. He left it all to Decimus, and the problem is that Decimus, Atriox tore the
cockier.
Spartans apart the first time, and Decimus did not count them as a threat.
Yeah, Decimus was even cockier than Atriox.
Actually, here's something.
Decimus did not.
The Arbiter from the first one versus Atriox. Who do you think's more dangerous?
Reaper Mormi. Oh, Reaper Mormi, hands down.
Because I have a feeling he would actually glass the spot to get a victory, even if he was standing there.
Reaper Mormi? Oh, fuck yes, he would. Reaper didn't fucking mess around.
Because I don't think Atriox would be standing if he was in charge of those fucking missions. Or they would fight each other to a standstill, because fucking Morme was a massive Hulk for a Sangheli.
Yeah. No, wasn't he? He was like 9 feet tall, wasn't he? Most Sangheli top out at only about 7.5, 8 feet.
He was 9 feet tall.
Very nearly. He was very nearly the size of a fucking hunter.
That's huge.
Oh yeah.
That is
Like
pretty
Spartans
huge.
can usually they usually match up. Spartan 2s usually match up height wise to an elite. He made Red Team look small. He made Red
Really?
Team look very small.
Wow.
Small.
Smooth. He's just smooth.
Small.
It's so smooth.
Though
Well, that was kind of the thing about Reaper though, is that he was a deconstruction of elites at the time, because most elites were written as very cunning, very smart about how they did things, kind of like the actual Arbiter Thel Vadim.
Anime was a very good ship commander.
Reaper was turned all of that on its head, because he was very big, he was very hands-on, he didn't typically think things out. His usual strategy was just to throw everything he had at the other guy until he had nothing left.
Overwhelming force,
Yeah.
which works for the
I love
Covenant.
that strategy. It's great. It's great, man. Just throw enough bodies. they'll
But
give
I
up,
mean,
man.
when it comes down to it,
The fucking
when it
suit.
does come down to it, though, he did
Halo.
show that tactical smart, though.
Halo Wars 1, every time you go into a multiplayer match against a Reaper player, just that endless wave of suicide grunts first thing in the match.
They will drown in our blood.
You don't know terror in Halo Wars until you see a field covered in those rushing towards you.
It's twice as bad in Halo Wars 2, especially in the beta. It was the 2v2 and my teammate dropped out. So
Oh no.
it was a 2v1 and both of them were sending endless streams of suicide grunts.
No, but to reel
Oh.
back
because
to
when
what the elite was, he was a very good tactician. Despite his brute force.
He's a very good tactician, a very bad strategist.
Like, I say on alone, he can easily wipe out a squad of Spartans. Just with how dangerous
Win the
he
battle,
is.
lose the war. Yeah.
Oh, that's also because Reaper fucking abused active camo. The only reason Forge survived that was because he went for the small shit first.
Mhm.
If Reaper had gone straight for Forge, he would have never known what happened until that first energy sword was through his gut.
High five to Forge for killing the Arbiter, though.
Again, that was
That was completely on him, though. That was completely on the Arbiter. He
Yeah,
got cocky.
Forge is the most badass.
I mean, to be
Marine.
fair, he had reason to be up through that fight, since he was fighting Forge as an equal at first, and then Forge just fell way short of expectations.
Well, as soon as he got skewered and lifted him up, and it's just like he did what any human does. He thought on his toes and just jammed his knife into his fucking artery.
I mean, to be fair, Forge should have been dead from that first punch to the gut, because Arby did not hold back on that.
Wasn't Forge cleared to be an Orion?
He was from the Orion program, yeah. But the thing is, that doesn't do jack for your
No,
durability.
but he was a.
if you're a human and you take an elite punch to the gut without the elite holding back, you're a dead man.
Hey,
Well, let's keep in mind he was wearing
Forge
armor
was
and
something
shit
else.
like that too.
Forge was something else. He was the only Marine that, gets shot by 50,000 plasma in the campaign, and you can just get him right back on his feet. So,
Hashtag
if he-
plot
he-
armor.
I,
Hashtag dies a hero.
That's
Hashtag Forge is a god.
Forge is the true.
But we
savior.
are now
There's no-
out on time. Anything else you guys want to say really quick before we end the podcast?
Pumpernickel.
Well, I think that's
Okay.
about it.
Pumpernickel.
Well, thank you guys for tuning
Yeah,
in.
that's it for me.
Well, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. If you liked and enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. We do this every other Monday, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you.